Hi all and welcome back to our interview series. I'm really privileged today to have Denis from a Business Technology Partners locally here with us on the call. So Denis, welcome.
Thank you.
It's really great to have you on board and have you chatting with us today. Denis, you want to just give us a little bit of background about Business Technology Partners, who you are and what you do?
Sure. Well, I'm the owner and managing director of Business Technology Partners. We call us as BTP. We're an IT support and installations company. We're based in Whiteley between Portsmouth and Fareham. We employ about 22 people, and we do everything that small to medium businesses need for their IT systems. I've owned the business for over 21 years, although before the pandemic, I was in a 50-50 partnership, but then I borrowed a lot of money to buy my business partner out. So for the last 2 years, I've owned 100% of the business. And in that time, we've grown by 23% in turnover and monthly services by 20%. So it's going well.
Fantastic. So as you said, you bought your business partner out 2 years ago. So what's the last couple of years look like for you? What's the business journey been over the last couple of years?
Well, COVID-19 had a massive impact on the marketplace. I think we saw a lot of people on social media saying how well they did, but if you look at the published results, it's maybe not so. A lot of our customers went out of business. One of our biggest clients was a designer of exhibition spaces, and they went from 100 grand spend with us to about 6,000.
Oh, wow.
We had a large bakery who had the same kind of thing happen. So it meant that all of our sales and marketing efforts, which we stepped up during the time, helped us to do a little bit better than standing still instead of the double-digit growth we were used to. But things have picked up significantly in the last 12 months. I think particularly now people are starting to open up their purse strings, which is good.
Fantastic. So what were obviously with those big impacts on you during COVID and from COVID, kind of what were the biggest learnings you took through that period? Because I know technology suppliers were in high demand at the front end, everyone trying to shift to some kind of remote working. What were the kind of challenges you faced and what were the learnings you took from that?
Well, about 70% of our business is monthly services, which we traditionally guarantee per month. But a lot of people start to cut down what they spent. The other third of our business is installation projects. And some of those just disappeared because there was no one in offices to have those projects done for. But we had an awful lot of laptop sales and setting people up to work remotely, which small margin work, but an awful lot of it. So we were pedaling very hard. But yeah, it's a tough old time. But we looked very carefully at our business costs, and we made sure that we were buying from the right places, some traditional hard negotiating. But we managed to cut our cost of sales and our overheads down, which was good, which then continues, which is great.
Fantastic. So kind of COVID aside and the COVID era aside, what are the biggest learnings or the biggest lessons, I guess, that you've had in business in the last 20 plus years in running Business Technology Partners?
I think mostly I've learned that you can't do it by yourself. You need good people around you, good staff members. And I always think you should use their talents. Just don't micromanage them or tell them what to do. Tell them what you're trying to achieve and your company culture, and then ask them to go do it. And I think you'll find that people will amaze you when that happens. They come up with ideas that you'd never thought of, and they achieve things that you didn't think were possible. So I have the best possible second in command at the company and a great management team. I would say I'm lucky to have them, but we've worked hard on teamwork. So yeah, I would say that people, getting the right people is the biggest thing I've learned.
So what would you say is the biggest motivator for you personally then, Denis, over the last 20 years in business? What's been kept you motivated?
Well, I think trying to see if I'm any good. There's a big challenge running a business, and you're always challenging yourself. I don't really need too much motivation because I'm a driven person. I'm always at my desk really early. I'm down the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and I like to run as well. So, but I like to challenge myself all the time. So I have self-motivation in a lot of it, I guess.
And do you find that kind of exercise and keeping yourself mentally stretched and keeping yourself physically stretched kind of has an impact on the business as well?
Oh yeah, I when I get down the gym, I've there's a lot of thinking time where I can actually, you see a lot of people with headphones, but I don't do that. I actually think what I'm going to do. It's a lot of personal time you have. But I think, yeah, you've got to really keep sharp, because running a business is hard mentally. So making sure you're in physical shape is important, I think.
Amazing. So kind of that leads me into kind of talking a little bit about yourself then. So what have you learned about yourself since you've been on this entrepreneurial journey, running and owning a business?
Well, I primarily am a salesperson. I have been since I was 16. I drove the business here for 19 years, the sales of the business. But then 2 years ago, I took on the role of managing director. And like a lot of people, when I sat in the MD's chair, first of all, I felt a bit like an imposter. I think you call it imposter syndrome, and a lot of people get that. But 2 years on, I'll stand beside any other MD in my industry with my chest out and shoulders back, because I think we've done well. I think I've learned that if you really want something badly enough and you're willing to put the hard work in, then you can achieve your goals.
Amazing. So what does the future hold for Business Technology Partners then? Where are you guys going? What's the vision you're looking to achieve?
Well, looking at growth, but in our industry particularly, it changes all of the time. Because when we started 21 years ago, things were entirely different. There was no Facebook, or YouTube. Google wasn't really there. No smartphones. We're even older than Friends Reunited, if any of you can remember that. But I think the biggest change is that young people are coming into business. They're tech savvy and they can often figure things out by themselves. They can Google their own problems, but when they do need help, they want it really quickly. I mean, like now. So we do that. That's our main focus, that when we're serving our IT customers, they want the answer now. And also, they want innovative products that can save them time.
So what is it, when you start to think about that, then you start to think about where you've come and where you started the business and where you are today. What would you have done differently?
I know you guys are business coaches, but I'd heartily recommend that people should hire a business coach. That's what I would have done.
Thank you.
I think as entrepreneurs, well, I think as entrepreneurs think we know it all, but we don't. It's good to have someone look at you from the outside and tell you what you're doing well, what you need to start doing that you're not doing already, and what you need to stop, even if you don't want to hear it. You can often can't see things that are obvious, and you occasionally need someone to point that out for you. So taking external advice is something that I'd heartily recommend people do.
Brilliant. So I really appreciate kind of that wealth of knowledge. There's a lot of key takeaways there. And I guess my final question to you then, Dennis, is what advice would you give to someone that was starting a business today? What would your one golden nugget be? What would that one big piece of advice you'd want to give out today?
Well, know what you're getting yourself in for, because a customer of mine once said, just after I started the business, that the first 10 years are the hardest, and he was right. So if you think that starting a business will bring you lots of money and time off, then you're in for a shock. But if you've got what it takes and have passion and a great idea, then go for it. It'll be the best thing you ever do. And of course, make sure you manage your cash flow properly at all times. I've got a great finance director that does that for me.
Brilliant. No, I think that's really sound advice. And, there's a lot of great takeaways out there for the business community. Look, Dennis, thank you ever so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I wish you all the best and success in business moving forward.
Steve, nice to talk to you.
And you, take care.